here.
We are going live. It's being
We are
live
going
streamed.
live. Yes, Zoom fixed it. Zoom made it easy for us to get connected. Oh my goodness. Yes. This is so awesome. Let's check that we are where we need to be in all the different places. We are live. Oh my goodness. Andrea did it. Oh my goodness. So good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. You are catching Tanya and I not backstage. We were like, okay, let's go a little early to make sure that we're on time, and we're early. But you know what? Like my mom used to say, 5 minutes early is being on time. So we're here. I see we have some people looking in. Now, I'm full composure for those of you who are just meeting me. I have managed to put technology in many places today, and I'm very ecstatic. So the best place to leave comments is I occasionally will look down at my phone. So if you have questions or anything or something like that, that's how I'm going to see it, because I haven't figured out how to use the fancy software to see it on the side of my screen. So, but yay, big props to me. I got this to work and put it in all these places. Tanya's here. We're ready to go. It's 6:30 where she is. So good evening, my dear. And I am just going to keep a little eye out to see who's in the audience. I have to check my phone. Some youngster that knows me taught me how to do this, which is really exciting. So I appreciate all of you who know my technical prowess when it comes to managing Facebook. So great. I see we have a few people there. Just tell me who you are, what you're looking in, like where you're calling in from, all that good stuff. And I will dutifully look here every now and then to see who you are and if you have any questions. All right. It is 9:30, so I have vamped to the best of my ability till the 9:30 start time, because we really want to honor your time. So if you come here on time and you're with us, thank you so much live. I want you to put your questions in the chat or at the bottom of this, wherever you're reading this or seeing this. And now I'm going to do some introductions. So for everyone globally, you're in my Winning at Wellness little program that I do inside of my Facebook group called Perimenopause 101, 360-degree approach to wellness for women over 40. That is quite a mouthful, but you'll understand why as you get to know me. My name is Andrea Gewurz, and I am originally from the East Coast of the United States. I currently live in California. I am a certified functional nutrition coach, and I really have been called on my heart to help women over 40 as they are preparing their bodies to live well in the quote golden years, or as I call it, in the last half of your life when you're supposed to be feeling amazing. And then the great joke is you're like, but I'm not. So you're in the right place, because that's where both Tanya and I, we work with men and women, but I have found that more women come into my life at this special period known as the menopausal journey, and they either are aware of it or they're not. And more times than not, because of the state of education we get about our bodies and things like that, we don't really have the best information. And so I'm a great resource. Tanya's a great resource about the information that you need to be well and live in a well body. And that means something different for everybody. But the point of the matter is you can have a well body. You just have to learn your script. Some would say prescription. I say blueprint, roadmap to what that looks like. And there are a lot of powers out here in the world that somehow usurp your power. I didn't mean to say it like that, but they undermine your ability to know yourself best. And I'm on a mission through my company, Wellbeing and Worth, to really empower men and women to really know what makes them tick. So you're in for a huge treat today, because Tanya, now you're going to laugh that I was practicing her name and then am I saying it like an Italian or a Czech person or English person with a messed up accent? Y'all who know me know that I have too many languages running around in my head. So Tanya, forgive me if I get it wrong, but I think I said it so many times to myself last night. I know it's not right anymore. But Tanya Horynová. Yes. But you should have seen me last night rehearsing, and I'm like, I've known her now, what, it's gone on 2 years. And I was like, oh my goodness, am I nervous? But anyway, Tanya lives in Prague, or outside of Prague, right? Isn't that correct? We met on an online health thing, coaching, who knows? We were in a group, we were watching some really great information. She said something, and I know me, I was like, hey, I want to really know more about what you just said. And then began a long distance, people say bromance. What am I going to say? Cismance or whatever. I call her a sister from another mister, because we really learned that we have a lot in common, and we're really called to help people with many of the same issues and things going on. So Tanya, I am so delighted that you're here. And I really got into your technology that you were sharing, I think, in the group to talk about inflammation. Here I am, not functional nutrition coach. I'm like, everybody's got problems with inflammation, and you've got a tool that helps people know their state of inflammation, and then processes with me and with what you teach and what I teach to really help people reduce this inflammation. And so, really short, before Tanya's going to begin, she's going to give us this presentation. We have a lot of information, so we have already anticipated that we're going to do a part 2. So if you're like, what? What? There are more questions. Don't worry. We've already decided that we need to do a part 2, because we want you to get the real understanding of what inflammation is, how it's working on your body this time, and then maybe we're going to go into more depth in a second conversation on a winning at wellness moment to really unpack the nooks and crannies of it. So with that, Tanya, if you're ready to go and like go on about inflammation, I want to cede the floor to you. And I'm already asking, so if I want to ask a question or raise my hand, can I pop in and just ad lib something to your presentation? You know, it's hard for me to be quiet, right? So, okay, with that, so Tanya, take it away. I would love for you to just briefly tell us a little bit about yourself before you go into all of your amazing information, because, well, they need to know that you really care and that you're really good at this too.
Thank you, Andrea. So yeah, my name is Tanya Horynová, if you want to practice more. And yeah, I think you said the most important things. Another thing we have in common is both you and I, we like to get to the root of the things. And we don't like to help people in a way that they just listen and do what we say. We like to put them back in charge of their life. And this is exactly what I'm going to share with the ladies here today, because, there's a lot of really smart technology from America, but I am going to introduce to you now something that is coming from Europe, of course, with American cooperation. But I call it a smart approach to health, because it actually tells you how your body is working. And I mean, I think everybody had this experience that they were trying to do something for their life, and then how do they know if it worked or not? I mean, how can they tell? They are just like guessing, and then they meet a friend and they say, I was taking this supplement and it was absolutely wonderful and I feel so much better. And then the friend goes, yeah, but you told me that you started also jogging. So is that a jogging or is that a supplement? What is working? And then, how can you evaluate what is good for you, what is not, and whether it has to do with how you feel or whether, it's maybe just a placebo. So this is what I'm going to introduce to you, and we are in a perimenopause group. So Andrea mentioned that I will mention inflammation because there is a strong connection. So why perimenopause, menopause, and inflammation? What is the connection? Well, if there is no inflammation in the body, then the menopause symptoms are not as harsh. So if you already have some perimenopause symptoms and you're wondering what's going to happen next, then I can tell you that if there is no inflammation, then maybe ask your mom and it's going to be the same. But if there is, then there can be a lot more worse things. And another thing is that you may have some friends who went over menopause, and right after menopause, they had this issue with bones or whatever. There's a lot of breast cancers which appear after menopause, and a lot of diseases. But you know what? This is all preventable. And I'm going to show you now how it's connected to chronic inflammation and how you can actually be on top of things before anything happens and avoid it happening. Okay. So basically, we are going to be talking what Andrea and I like to use most in the health coaching approach. And that is we're going to talk about food, because your body needs fuel, and then what do you put inside, then it's gonna work either better or worse. But today, in most people, it actually works really bad. So this is gonna be just very simple history. I want to explain to you that the food chain, that everything we eat is totally different than what our ancestors ate and what your grandparents were eating. For until 1960s, it was more or less the same. And certain foods, both plant-based as well as animal-based, they had certain nutrients. And we are going to be talking about fats today, because believe it or not, fats, and particularly omega-6 and omega-3 fatty acids, they are the key to whether you have chronic inflammation in your body or not. So on the left pictures, you see the traditional food, how it was. I mean, we had to give time to the nature to eat meat, have milk, and it just all took some time. But since 1960s, we started to use industrial plant oils for every food. Before that, we could not even produce them or store them. And we started to to have like these big farms where you have these chickens in cages, just like on the photo, and they are fed omega-6 fatty acids in form of seeds. So we have seed oils and seeds given to animals, which results in too many seeds. And seeds, in simple terms, that's really omega-6 fatty acids, and those cause inflammation, whereas omega-3s are anti-inflammatory. So what do we actually want? Okay, our DNA, all of our body should work that we have always one omega-6 with one omega-3. They are essential, and that way our body works perfectly. Is that clear, Andrea? Yeah. And we know that if it's a little bit either way, it's okay. So 3-1 means you're healthy and you don't have to worry about anything, and your body can fight inflammation. Okay. But since 1960s, this has changed a lot. And today in the United States, the average ratio is about 25-1. Now we're talking 25 pro-inflammatory omega-6s to 1 omega-3, okay? This is already enough of the history, but see what this really means. This is what happens if you have too much omega-6s in your body. And if you have the chronic inflammation, it's not only the chronic inflammation. What also happens is that every cell of your body, it doesn't matter if it's in your brain, in your heart, in your skin, really all of those trillion cells that you have inside yourself, the cell membranes become fluid. Now, the cell membrane is the outside of every cell, and the cell membrane decides what comes inside the cell and whether or not the cell can actually get rid of the waste products it needs to get rid of. Because just like you need to go to the bathroom, it actually happens with every cell that it needs to get rid of the waste products. So if we have too many omega-6s, this is very inefficient. So simply when you're trying to eat healthy food and perhaps you buy supplements, most of it really literally end up in the toilet, okay? Some people with some supplements can actually see it, but we can change that, because if we put back your cells in balance, then the outside, the cell membrane becomes very fluid, And that means that when you're trying to take care of yourself and you're eating vegetables, when you're using the right supplements, it gets inside, the cell takes whatever it needs to work healthily, and then it leaves the body. Okay, so this omega-6-3 ratio, it's the cause of chronic inflammation, and it also leads to you trying to take dietary approaches, but it just wouldn't work as it should. So that's why this is really important to fix. And I want to explain to you also what the chronic inflammation really means, because maybe you'll say, okay, I don't have any chronic inflammation. I don't feel I have any problems. So chronic inflammation, because we cannot see what happens with the cell membrane, right? There is a way how to test it. I'm going to talk about it. But otherwise, when the chronic inflammation happens in your body, it can be weeks or it can be decades. We never know. But it's like this part of the iceberg which you don't see. So I'm sure you all know the story of Titanic. So what happened with Titanic was that they saw the iceberg too late because the part which was above the ocean was just too small and it was dark, so they couldn't see it. But if the part which was below the surface of the ocean was not as strong as it was, it wouldn't split in half and Titanic would not have the famous accident, right? And this is exactly what happens with chronic inflammation. What you see on the surface, it's already just the surface, but the cause is usually huge. And most of the time, it's been developing for a really, really long time. And then it depends on your genetics, on your lifestyle, whether you're active or not, or perhaps whether you have had an injury. If you have an injury and you have chronic inflammation, it's likely that the healing will not go smoothly. Right. So this is chronic inflammation. Maybe another picture is not displaying. Sorry about that. I don't know why. But I wanted to tell you all the diseases which are part of the chronic inflammation. That's the slide which was not appearing, but it's actually here as well, because I want to explain to you that what I am telling you about the omega-6 to omega-3 ratio, the doctors actually should know this for over 20 years, because this is an American study. This lady, who is the author, Artemis Simopoulos, she's born in Greece, but she's lived all her life in America and studied in America and so on. She's done plenty of research, and she's turning 90 years this year, and she's still an active researcher because she maintains her ratio at 1:1. So you can really tell that, and if you look up the picture of this lady, it's amazing. And I think we all want the aging to be that, that we don't just suffer and visit each other in hospitals, but we really want to have active life and, do what we were hoping to do when we retire and enjoy life, right? So her study from 2002 actually says that actually already links the omega-6 to 3 ratio to all these diseases. So you see autoimmune disease, all of cardiovascular disease, where a positive ratio is associated with 70% decrease in mortality. And I'm going to show you even stronger evidence later on, but this is 20 years ago. And then breast cancer, rheumatoid arthritis, allergies, asthma, just we are eating food that's making us sick, but we can all avoid it. The way we can avoid it is that we can test how our omega-6 to omega-3 balance is. And I can tell you that one thing for which I appreciate Andrea is that she has had in America, the best test I had overseas.
Well, thank goodness.
It was like almost amazing. It was like almost amazing. And there's actually a money back guarantee for the test. And she, by 0.1, she missed the full refund. So really, she knows what she is doing. But the important thing is that you can actually take control. You can be in control of the supplements you're taking, whether they are working or not. And you can be in control of all of the inflammation which happens in every cell of your body. And I love that, because when we go to a doctor, we are like, we have to obey what they say, and we have nothing to do about it, really. And suddenly there is something that's accessible to everyone, and we can be in control, because when you know your result, you can fix it. When you know what's wrong, it's fixable. And this is what I absolutely love. And it also has changed my life, because for 42 years, I was actually looking for something to help me. Okay, but how does it work? You buy a test kit and you actually send it to a huge laboratory, which is specialized in analyzing these tests from all around the world. And these are some of the clients, and you can see that on the top of it is Harvard University. So it's a lab in Norway, in Europe, but even huge American universities and hospitals use it, because they have like state-of-art technology, which really is excellent at processing these blood samples, which are taken at home, and it's like really quick. And in 3 weeks, you get your results online. So it's pretty amazing, because you just get a test kit from Andrea. She'll help you with that. And you see whether or not your body is working, how prone you are to degenerative disease. And even if your brain gets enough blood, there's so many markers that you can find out. And then when you have that, it's the first step to actually fixing that. And this is a perimenopause group. And if you fix it before menopause, then you also know that the symptoms won't be any worse than they should be. And you will know that the menopause is not likely to be a start of you really getting old quicker than you'd like. Yeah. Because menopause is really linked to premature aging a lot.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Tanya, let's can you stop sharing for a sec, and let's just sort of fill in a little bit more about that process about doing the test, and because now they can see our faces and we can go on about that, and like why I brought you here to present this. This is information that I, as a functional nutrition coach, knew because of schooling, right? You guys, I understood omega-3 6 ratios, and not a lot of doctors were talking about it. So when Tanya brought this to me, and I was like, you have a way to look at this? Because certainly as CFNC, there are tests we can give you. We have blood serum tests. You can go to your doctor. They're going to measure your cholesterol. They're going to measure, your enzymes and your hormones, and they're going to do your vitamin C. They're going to even do the H1BAC. Both Tanya and I get that one all messed up. But, what your blood glucose levels are supposed to look like, and then they're going to tell you whether you're pre-diabetic, you're fine, whatever. But what I find, and why this is so compelling, and I include it in my coaching with my clients, is because you know what? A lot of things are, quote, subclinical to these doctors. A lot of things are, you look fine on the surface. I was one of those people, right? I look fine. My blood serum, they're like, what are you worrying about? And they're pushing me out the door to get to the next person. But I know how I want my body to feel. And what really happens in perimenopause and menopause, ladies, is that we have symptoms that are telling us what needs to be addressed, but we're not heard by the medical establishment. So now, if your cells are starting their natural biological process to age, and perimenopause is, we got to fix our frame about aging, ladies, is like the first indication that certain body things are just going to biologically happen. Like your ovaries are going to go into retirement, and perimenopause is the beginning of that, and menopause is when they're in full retirement and they're just not making those sex hormones that give you great hair and no wrinkles and a great figure and a slim waistline, you
Oh,
know?
I have a wonderful story with the hair. Can I step in?
Yes, of course.
This client, she's actually a retired doctor, and she stopped dyeing her hair at the age of 70, and she started to have almost like white, well, okay, gray hair. And then she called a few months after we started fixing this, and she said, I finally got used to the fact that my hair is gray, and now I'm getting a little black thing, little black hair around here. I didn't want that. I want them to be one color. So it just affects
It's
every part of our regeneration.
every cell in the body is affected by this ratio. So, armed with this information, you can really strategically take supplements. You can take protocols that are going to get you the result that you want. You can learn to eat better or a different way based on this result that nobody's really actively looking for. And if you want to go, well, how come they don't do that? That's a bigger question that is beyond the scope of this call or this training. Just know that you can harness the energy of really good technologies to really affect how you're going to show up moving onward, right? And everybody should take this to know what these ratios are. I mean, I want to test my family now that they know what my results are like. I want to test my daughter and I want to test my husband, because armed with this information, and you can tell your cells are either doing great or they're not, and you can make those simple tweaks like we talked about. Omega-3 6 ratios can be so altered by what you eat that it's almost shameful that everyone doesn't know this. Wouldn't you say, Tanya? Like it hurts my heart that people don't have that. So I can imagine, I think we're almost at the end of a half an hour. This is what's out there. This is how we would like to come into your like Rolodex of your life and sort of start to give you substantial ways to make improvements. And, like Tanya said, I missed by like 0.01, like the money back thing, that I didn't really care about that. I was so geeked to know where my profile needed a little bit of help, and and knowing what to do about it. I was like, okay, that's easy enough to fix. And then being able to test again. I mean, yeah, we have a test again policy in there too. So this is really cool stuff, right? Like super cool.
Yeah.
And to
And
be
you
able
know
to,
what? If I can tell the ladies in the group, it's like it's really making you in charge of your life, because now most of the nutrition approaches, although many people have heard about it and it's it sells online and there is so much science behind that. I mean, it's actually linked to early death as strongly as smoking. Although the people know, they would rather tell us, if you are obese, go for a surgery. But I think that conventional nutrition that we see in most places is like if we were asked to get rid of our mobile phones and got back to a landline. And now there is a mobile at accessible price, not any more expensive than a landline. And I want to use it. I want to be mobile. I want to have all the advantages of it. And this is exactly that. I mean, if you want to do something about your future, want to be part of it, want to make your body recover from whatever comes, because we cannot influence everything that comes, then this is a way to be in charge and to do the maximum for it. And I cannot imagine anymore to go without it with any of my clients, because it gives me a peek inside how their body works.
at the
And if
cellular level.
yes,
At the
exactly.
cellular level. And so the beautiful part about our bodies, and our bodies are amazing, ladies and gentlemen, if they're here listening on my main page, in that we are always self-regenerating. Now,
Yes.
imagine we can get rid of the bad cells and have all better, higher, more effective working cells. Wouldn't you do it? So I think we should reserve looking at, because we're running out of time, we're going to look at some tests in the next call. And I think we're going to probably do it next week, same bat channel. We just have to tweak some times. Carpool. That's why it's 9:30, not 9. I had to do carpool today. So, but be on the lookout for that, because we really want to then show you what the test results look like, and then to impress upon you like how we can help. And so with that, we're going to say thank you for showing up. Thank you, Tanya, for being here. That was beautiful, wonderful, and just, it's just the right touch. So test results are coming up. Tanya, you can go have dinner with your family.
Thank you for having me. And if anybody has any questions regarding inflammation, or because I showed you now how it develops in the body, but I can also show you how exactly this is linked to perhaps your inflammatory condition, then they can either post a question in comments, or they can send you a private message and you'll deliver it to me, or they can message me or whatever, and we can share the answers next time.
Perfect. I love that. So with that, everybody have a fantastic day, evening, night, and we'll see you next week. Thank you so much, Tanya. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.